What's up, my loves? We are waiting on one of our lovely Innate Creatives members. Tracy, she's here. Okay. All right. And then we have a question specifically about this template. Good deal. So, Tracy, I do have your photo. We're going to go ahead and make sure everything is pulled in. So I've saved the photo from the email, but I don't know what color scheme you're going with. So let me see if that's in the photo. So let me know what the like the theme colors are supposed to be for this. Whether you want to go with the school colors, if you want to put a mascot in there, we can put a mascot in the background. I know it's not in there, but I could show you how to do that because I know that you are one of my supporters and you have these templates. So I want to show you how you can quickly change it out and how you can even add to it. Okay, so the colors in the photo except for the red. Perfect, because I can show you how to change this out in 10 minutes. Okay, and for this type of session, you can also let me know too. If you give me a heads up and let me know that the client's going to be watching, then I'll make sure that I don't mention like anything in particular that, you know, that might kind of give away any secret to how we operate like this. So I just want to make sure that we have that together. So, and I encourage you, as a matter of fact, here's what I think you should do. You should, and I'm going to do this for you all too. I'm working on it. I'm working on basically like a mirror website that you can send your customers that only has the 10-minute templates on it. So they won't see my shop. They won't see my sublimation blanks. So they won't know how much your blanks cost. They won't get to see the ink and the paper and things like that I'll have on there. They'll only get to see the 10-minute template. So it'll be an alternate website. And then that way you won't be afraid to show them, hey, pick out your template. Because then they're going to see, oh, that's $20, $20, $20. They'll understand that, hey, the template is $20. And then you still have to pay me to change out the artwork. So then people get to understand what quality artwork really looks like. So, and cost. So I want to be able to do that for you all. Let me know if y'all think that's a good idea. Because if that's the case, then that way I can have a separate link that y'all can share that just looks like artwork and say, hey, just like if you told people to go to Etsy and pick a template and, you know, let me know which one you want and then I'll incorporate it. So if that's the case, then I will work on that for you all. If y'all don't feel any need for it, then I won't worry about it right now because I have a lot on my plate. But I just thought about that because I have people that reference the website and they actually send people to my website. But I want them to remain your customers because in the long run, I want you all to be growing your businesses. So I'm always thinking of ways that you can, you know, grow your brand, grow your business, and how this can be a tool to help grow your brand. Okay. So just putting that out there. All right, so let's get back to the work. Let's see, 7:06. Let's see if we can work this 10-minute magic, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and then I'll walk you through some extra steps if we need to go through some extra stuff. First thing I'm going to do is go to Remove BG and see if it will help me to remove the background from the image or if I have to do it manually. When I have to do it manually, it usually does take a little more extra time, but let's see what we're working with. And I believe you sent me a high resolution photo. Perfect, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and download the full image, which is going to be, I want you to see the difference between these pixels. Downloading this full image is a lot larger than the preview image. So if you do decide to do a lot of these photo shirts, you may want to invest in, I think it's $9 a month for this subscription. And then you just, you know, you charge your customers when you have to cut out photos. I usually include it with my design service. I'll include one photo and then each additional photo I charge them $5 more. All right, so I'm straight up dragging this from the internet browser. I didn't even drag it from the folder. I dragged it from the internet browser, pulled it into our artboard. I'm going to go ahead and I transformed it. I press enter to lock in that size. And then I'm going to drag it to the layer where the photo is. And I can go ahead and turn off my previous photo. Now I do see that we probably want to see the word senior here. So I'm going to Control T, make that a little bit smaller there. But the more we try to see the shirt, the smaller the photo is going to be. So I'll let you tell me if we want to make the photo a little bigger and kind of forego that. So the school colors are the school colors gold and black. And let me go back to window here and live chat. All right, Tracy, so just let me know. There's a little bit of lag time here. Okay, yes, the colors are black and gold here. I'm going to select my brush. I created a new layer here, a layer mask. And I'm going to right click, drag this size down a little bit. And I have black selected as my foreground color. So, oh, I have a hard brush selected. I want that soft brush, where I can bring hardness all the way down to 0. Here we go. I'm going to make this brush a little bit bigger. And we're just going to fade off these edges here, just so we don't have a random hard edge. And I'm going to turn on this white background layer so we can really see what's going on, at least for the photo. And I think my text here has a certain overlay. I'll have to figure that one out in just a second. But I just want to see from my photo how I can clean this up. I don't want to see any hard edges there. I think I've achieved that softness there. And do we want to put her name on this one? If so, Tracy, type the name in the comments so I can just copy and paste it. So for this one, I want you to take the word mom. We'll take the words of a. Well, let's go ahead and change mom first, and I'll show you how we can copy and paste that layer style. So all we're going to do, if we keep with the gold, all we need to do is change the purple out. So we'll go with the color overlay. Probably knowing me, yes, I have a gradient overlay there. So I'm going to do a color overlay. And I'm going to change that color to not quite. I'm going to show you if I change it all the way to black, sometimes it doesn't give me the full effect that I want. So a lot of times I'll bring it a little bit above black, but this looks good as black. And the mode that it's on right now is color. So it's only going to give me the values that the original purple had. So I'm not getting a deep, deep black because it doesn't have a deep color in my original image here. I can go to black and change these colors to black and see how it gives you that stark black there, which is kind of what I don't want. So now I can copy this layer style, paste it on the of a, and paste it on the word graduate. And I can actually select, I don't have to sort through these layers. I'm selecting right from my artboard, graduate, paste layer style, boom. And for my little hat there, this is the top layer, and it just has a gradient overlay. I can turn on that color overlay if I want to, and just switch that color to black. And that design is technically changed out. If I want to make the gold a little more yellow, I can do basically a color overlay for this one. I don't suggest it. Let me see, let me double click on it here. Because I think it looks good with the gold as is, it still matches. But if you really wanted to have that old gold look, we can go in and play with the color here. And I can actually select a color from her shirt. So I'm going to select that yellowish gold. And it's on multiply right now. And the opacity was turned down low. So I can turn the opacity up. and it gives it more of that color. So now I can copy that layer style and I can paste it on the 2020. And I think I'll keep the regular gold on the outline here, but even if I want to change the gold outline, I go to Mom, go to my stroke, and right now it's got this standard gold. I can add a color overlay, and right now that color overlay is on gray. That's why it looks silver. I can add another color or another stroke. In this one, I can make that yellow color. There we go. And see how now it made it that brighter yellow color? I think I'll make it a little bit darker. Here we go. And now I can copy that layer style and paste it on a vase. It's a subtle difference, but you can tell the difference in that yellowish gold versus the more standard gold. So if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Paste layer style. Done. So this is what I was telling you. If you want to change the name. So now we're done. Technically, this is done. I don't even know if that was 10 minutes. I couldn't remember. I think we started at like 7:06. So it wasn't even 10 minutes to do this template. But what you may want to do now is don't do this if you don't have to. If they're like, oh my God, I love it, then leave it alone. You're done. You got paid for your time. Don't work for free. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and paste the layer style here. And let's change name. All you have to do is double click on this T right here, or if you had the move tool selected, you can also double click on the actual text in the document, as long as you're not overlapping other text. So I'm going to copy this name. I'm not going to retype it. I'm going to copy and paste from what you sent me, so I make sure I don't misspell it. And there's our girl, Jasmine. And maybe I'll put her name at an angle so you can still kind of see the senior-ish design on her shirt. And that is it. So I couldn't quite figure out why this is just, it has something to do with my effects on here. And as a matter of fact, let me see. Mom's doing it. Let's go to the blending options. If I turn that on, that's what it is. It's my blending options. So I'm just going to leave it alone. And then what I'll end up doing is saving this one as a JPEG, or you can save it as a PNG. Let's see, PNG, there we go. And then for this one, we'll put Mom. Now, Tracy, I don't ordinarily do this, but I'm going to do this for you so that I can show you this is why you need to charge more when they ask you to change the names. Okay, so technically, this is one design, right? If I go in and change the name, then it's an additional fee. And I do charge $5 more to change the names. So then that way, some people just go with one design for all the shirts, and some people want to personalize each shirt. So if they want to personalize each shirt, that is an additional fee because it takes additional time. You see how we got the first design done in less than 10 minutes? So if it's going to require more time and attention, then we're going to make sure that you cover yourselves on that, because chances are too, this is why you charge more as well. I have a greater chance of messing this up, right? Putting the wrong name on the wrong size shirt. Am I correct? Have y'all ever done that before? You know, you're sitting here, you print out Mom, Dad, Big Daddy, brother, granny, daughter, you know, so forth. And then you end up putting granny on a youth small. Yeah, so the more chances there are to mess up, you want to make sure that you're covering your behind. They call it a CYA. So we want to make sure we CYA. Let's go ahead. We have Mom. Now this is what you can do if you know you're going to do these standard names over and over and over again. You can take your template, take the word Mom, and I'm just going to duplicate that layer so that I keep Mom, because if I happen to do anything where I mess Mom up and I need to come back and change it, then there it is. Let's go ahead, double click on the text there. And I'm going to copy exactly from what you have. So next I have dad. Let's paste dad. And you're going to have to move it a little bit because it's not going to be the same. Some words are going to be a lot longer. I'm just nudging that a little bit. And there's your next design. File, save as. Go ahead and save it as your PNG. And here's the thing. This is where you don't want to mess up because I have mom saved. So I'm going to double click on the word mom and Control V, paste dad. So I'm trying my best not to retype anything. When you retype something, you introduce a possibility for human error. And we want to make that as little as possible. All right, so we got dad. I have big, proud, big daddy. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I do if I have something really big, like the word big daddy. So I'll take dad, let's duplicate it. Now, the more you duplicate, you also end up making your file larger. And I'm sorry, Tracy, I just started doing these names. Were you satisfied with the design the way it is? Because I just kind of went with my own thing and I didn't even ask you. That is not like me. So before, and the reason why I asked that, okay, good. Because before I start doing all these names and stuff, then I want to be clear. Because what'll happen is you'll do all of these name variations and your customer will say these magic words. Can you just, and when you hear the word just, it's going to irk your nerves. So can you just maybe add 2 more pictures? Can you just change the colors and add this poem on it? And it's never just a just. So yeah, make sure you get your approval in writing. We got proof here. Tracy says yes, we're good to go. So because I'm going to put Big Daddy, I'm going to put Daddy down a little bit. And let's see, I'm going to take the word Jasmine. And this is where you have to get creative. You already have graphic styles in here. Don't, reinvent the wheel. So Jasmine, now I'm going to type the word big. And I just did that because putting Big Daddy there just seemed like it would be a little too much. Now this one, in order for me to get this to where it overlaps properly, I'm going to show you what I have to do here. Let's see if I can make it knock out without doing what I think I have to do. And this should have made everything knock out, but it is not. It is not doing that. I can change this by doing a color overlay, and then this color overlay, I'm going to do normal. And then I also need to do a stroke. So all of my strokes are basically, well, I have a stroke that's normal. So this one's working. I just have to make sure big is the top. Let's grab Daddy and check on those effects. Now this is something I'm doing here because the way my transparency is working, it's meant to blend all of these metallics and make it look cool, but it's causing me a little bit of havoc here. So let me do a normal size stroke, color overlay. Oops. Undo that. Oh, I know one thing I can do. Let me take this big, duplicate it. pull it underneath, and I'm going to group that and just put a white color overlay over that. Oh, there's something going on with my opacity here that anytime it's in front of white, it's not showing. That's very interesting. But in front of black, it does perfectly fine. That is very odd. Okay, so I have to figure that out, but you shouldn't have to do all that. So let me do this then. I know one thing I can do to figure that out. I'll put it on the white, select it all, group it. Pass through. All right, well, I'll work on that on my own time because I don't want to confuse y'all with those extra kind of advanced level things. But basically what I would end up doing is once I do figure out what's making it transparent, I will update the new file. So I'll update it for any of you that have this file that may be running into this problem. I don't know how many of you may or may not have run into this issue, but I just want to make sure that you don't feel stuck. And then I have a color overlay. I'm going to have to take the drop shadow off because it's adding a stroke around my drop shadow. All right, there we go. So now Big Daddy overlaps like I want it to. It's not looking crazy. And we can go File, Save As. And anything that you don't like, I'm going to give you this Photoshop file so you'll have. So this one is going to be PNG. So that one's Big Daddy. I have brother. So now I can turn off the big and go to daddy. Let's duplicate that layer. Turn off the original daddy, and I copied already, so I'm going to Control V to paste brother. And then I'm going to have to squish it in a little bit. I don't like squishing text, but I do it when I have to. Now, if I do squish it a little too much, then I will take up the slack and the height a little bit so it doesn't look too awkward. All right, so that still looks good there. I'm going to nudge it a little bit. And now we have brother, file, save as. I'm going to save it as a PNG. Double click on dad and replace that with brother. And then we can take off big because this one, that was 2 words to that title. So you see, this is why I charge extra, because this is taking up additional time. It's going to take your energy, and then they might say something, well, put bro instead of brother or something like that. It just introduces more opportunities for you to have to work harder. Let's do granny next, duplicate the layer. But this is a good example of real world, what you'd have to do and what it takes. So now granny will Control T, transform that a little bit. Granny's done. File, save as. Make sure we save it as a PNG, because see, you can go so fast sometimes you just save another Photoshop version. And I've done that plenty of times. All right, so granny's done. Next is daughter. Right click on granny, let's duplicate that layer. Turn off the original granny. Let's go on to the copy, double click on that T. And this one's daughter, so daughter's gonna look a little squished. File, save as. We'll save it as a PNG. And the reason why I click on the last one is because it kind of puts me in the mode of my naming system. And then I can just change the last word to what I just copy and pasted, which was daughter. And then, so this next one would just be, basically it would say proud 2020 graduate, right? Instead of daughter of a. So if we wanted to modify that, there's a little work we're going to have to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole group, well, everything that's here, I selected the top, held down shift, selected the bottom. I'm going to do Control G. Control G is going to group it. I'm going to duplicate this group because I don't want to mess up where my stuff is right now, because I like the location of everything is good to go. So what I'll do is go to where all the daughter and all of that stuff is. We'll take out all of that because it's a duplicate. I'm not messing with my original set. And then I can take out my of a. And now what I'll do is go to my, now I have several layers here. So I have my 2020, all of that. So group 1 has all of that in it, but I just want to move the 2020. So I'm going to hold down my control key, or my shift key, and select on the board to see what all I need to select here. So my 2020 is on there, the actual text, and I can turn it off and on to see what I'm selecting. Then I want to hold down shift, right click here, that vector smart object. That's going to be my cap there. And I believe there's something even on top of that, layer 4. Yep, that's the color version of it. And then I want to take the word graduate, grab that. So now technically, if I didn't miss anything, I held down shift while I selected those things, and see how they're all still highlighted in my layers panel? So they're all going to move together. Now granted, this is my copy, so I'm going to call this one graduate. And Tracy, you'll have a copy of this one. So proud 2020 graduate. Is that one okay? Oh, and Tracy, I'll leave this video up. So as long as you have the link right now, you'll be able to review this. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to put the link in the description right now. So make sure you copy and save this link, because sometimes it takes up to 24, 48 hours for these videos to upload. And I want you to have this link, because as long as it was done live, you'll be able to rewatch the live. But for it to upload on YouTube sometimes takes a ridiculously long time. So then that way you can focus on what we're doing, not have to take notes. You can go back, watch the video, maybe slow it down, watch it on your iPad next to your computer. And then that way you'll have like a screen you watch the video on, and then a screen that you do your editing on. So now you know how to edit this template from top to bottom, and you're good to go. You have any questions or anything, love? So there's our original, and then there's our modified one. So I have them in 2 different groups for you. All right, so I think someone said they had, well, let me make sure Tracy's good with the design first before we take questions. All right, cool. So just to let you all know, even when you asked me to do this, I charge extra to change these names out. I just did this time to let you all, because it was a teaching opportunity. It was a teachable moment. So I decided to do it for the free 99, because I wanted you all to learn how to do that in a quick manner. Okay, and that's what these templates are meant to be. It's something that, I mean, it took us, what, about 24 minutes to do all of the different variations. So you would charge accordingly. That's almost the equivalent of a whole nother, template change out or more, depending on, because what'll happen is grandma might want this photo and auntie might want this photo, and then you are basically changing the design each time. So practice with these templates, see how long it takes you, and then charge accordingly. If it takes me 10 minutes to change something out, chances are it might even take you 20 minutes just starting out. And then eventually you'll be fast as me and doing 10-minute designs, but you still charge people like it took you 30 minutes to an hour to do it, okay? Because they're paying for the template. You pay for the template and pass that on to the customer so that they understand the difference of quality artwork. Uh-oh, am I still live? It says I'm live. Hey, you all chime in and let me know if you still can hear me or see. Well, I guess you can't see me, but see my screen. Because Tracy's asking, did y'all lose me? Okay, awesome. Cool, cool, cool. So Tracy, you might just have to refresh your browser or something. Let's see, refresh the browser if you are having issues. Because I'm not going to front like my internet is all of that. Okay, so we've got that done, that template done. I do have 2 more jobs to do, so I will go ahead and do those live while I have y'all here. That way, if you have any questions, I can catch you on those questions. And Veronica, message me, because if you bought the Affinity version of this one, you should be able to change the text, but I might have that issue where, you know how I do all these extra effects and it doesn't translate over to Affinity. So if I have to change the Affinity template to reflect the effects here, just let me know. Okay, y'all like the website idea? Cool. The website is innatelab.com. I'll go ahead and type it in the comments. The most popular section is the 10-minute template section. That's where you're going to find all your goodies, but we also have blanks on there. I want you to keep your eye out because we will be doing the ink in just a little while, like probably 1 week, tops 2 weeks rollout. And then there's going to be an incentive for that too. So that's why I say I want the website to kind of be a resource for you all because I am working on something major. So I appreciate you all supporting me, even though my mind is going 10 million miles a minute. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me. Oh, okay. Now, here's the thing too, Veronica, what I want you to do, if you do happen to open, because more than likely it's a Photoshop link, but let me show you a tip to opening any template in Affinity. And I'm going to try it right now, as a matter of fact, just to see. And like I said, that this template might be a little too complicated for Affinity, and that's why I don't tell y'all to switch to Photoshop, but I absolutely encourage that to be your primary method of learning, because if you know Photoshop, you can work any other program. It's kind of hard to teach both programs at once. And being that I'm still learning Affinity, but I can show you that I don't do any tutorials for Affinity, but I can pretty much manage it just because I know how to manage Photoshop. So let's go to open, and let's open the one we just did, not the PNG. I'm going to open the Photoshop file. See what it does to my work? It just, yeah. So this is one of those ones I would have to redo, but yet and still my text is editable. The word graduate is editable, but it limits a lot of my graphic functions. So I pretty much would have to almost redesign the text of it just to make it look similar to what I had before. But the reason why the text is editable, I mean, it doesn't look good to me. Yeah, it doesn't look good to me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it. I could go into my text and I can edit it. But the reason why is because of these settings. So Veronica, I want you to take a look at these. But I would still like, if you got this and this is what it looked like when you open it, message me and this is going to be one of those ones I have to rework. Okay. Some of them import just perfectly and I don't have to do anything to them. Some of them look like this. And I have to, it doesn't look, oh, you know what? The reason why it doesn't look like this, Veronica, I'm going to show you some settings that I have here. And this is a part that any Affinity user, I want you to really, really take note right now, because there are some settings that allow you to make a Photoshop file editable. And that's how I kind of do the Affinity until I figure out that it's one that does not convert well. So this one is not converting well. Let me go to, you go to Edit, Preferences. Let's go to General, and I want you to make sure that you have these checked off before you open a Photoshop file. If it says PSD or PSB, those are Photoshop initially, and you can bring them into Affinity, and once you save them, it will automatically save them as an Affinity file. So basically, I have over 100 templates, so every template is not already an Affinity file. So what I do is if I notice that it pulls up from Photoshop and it's fine and y'all are good with it, then it's good. If I see that it does something like this, then I have to go back and redo the artwork. So let's see. So I want you to make sure you have these check marks on your general settings. You want documents open in the current active group. You want to import PSD text as text rather than bitmap. So Veronica, what yours did, I guarantee you, if you had non-editable text, that was probably turned off. And if that's turned off, it'll look good. It'll look just like my Photoshop version, but that's only because it basically merged the text and made it a bitmap. So you don't want it to be bitmap. Bitmap means you can't edit it any longer. You want it to be text, okay? Import smart objects where possible. Affinity is trying its best to incorporate smart objects, so that's why it says where possible. So make sure that's checked off. Veronica, I'll go back in just a second and I'll show you how to get to this again. So yeah, make sure that this is selected where it says smart objects where possible. Copy items is SVG. If I had SVGs, or which I do have some vector graphics in here, you want them to import as SVGs. It says save thumbnail with documents. I don't know if Photoshop has that option. I wish it did, because I can never preview my Photoshop files, but I can preview the Affinity files because of this feature, which is pretty cool. Insert filler text as text. And load media from XMP sidecars. I don't know what that last thing means. I just know I have it checked. And when I have it checked, these certain settings checked, then I get to edit my text. I get to bring in my smart objects. So Veronica, let me show you how to get to that again. I'm going to close this out. You would have not opened anything, right? And I'll even try another file. So I will go to Edit. Before I open anything, I'm going to go to my Preferences. Go to General, and then if you need to, take down a timestamp of the time right now, so maybe you can grab a screenshot of these settings, and then that way when you set this and then you hit close, every time you open Affinity, those will be your default settings. Okay, so then I can go File, Open. Let me see if I can open one of my harder. This is, I think this might even be, let's see. Okay, awesome, you got a screenshot, good deal. So with those same settings, I'm gonna open another Photoshop file and show you, that's a Photoshop file. And I have the front and back there. Sometimes my images don't clip like they need to. Several reasons why I end up, getting messed up when my files turn into Affinity files. But as you can see, my text is editable here. So I could go into the name and grab my text tool. I can go into the name, go into forgotten, and I can change those things. And basically when I go to save it, it's a PSB now, but if I were to save this, one thing I don't like that it does, and you can see here, see I stretched my photo out and it stretched this photo out? It's trifling in that way because it's stretching the image to the the box size that was originally there. And it drives me crazy, especially when I have smart objects. Y'all know how hard I work on my smart objects, but it just gives me those issues. So that is a gripe that I have with Affinity right now. One of my gripes. Okay, so what I would do here is File, Save As, and then when you go to Save As, it's going to save it as an Affinity template. Okay. And as a matter of fact, for my newer files, maybe I can start doing this so I'll know ahead of time. It's just by the time I make a template, I don't feel like fooling with Affinity unless I know somebody wants to buy it in Affinity, and it hasn't been that popular yet. So when the popularity of Affinity grows, I'm sure that I'll be on top of these Affinity templates a lot more. Okay, so no, I don't want to save those changes. Okay, so Tracy's asking if she wants to put it on a mask. This is what I would do. You have it saved as a PNG, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that if you want to see the other version of the file, you just turn on the eyeball for this group and turn off the eyeball for graduate. But I'm going to go ahead and save that for you, Tracy. And if you were doing your mask, let's do, do I have a mask template ready to go? Well, basically, oh yeah, I forgot I gave y'all a free template for a face mask. So if we were doing that one, and you don't even need the mock-up. Okay, so that's your, if you purchase this type of mask here, they are as low as $1.50 a piece, depending on how many you're buying, the quantity. But these are just easy, kind of foldable. They don't have filters or anything. But let's say you were going to do this as a mask design. You could drag in your image because you saved it as a PNG, right? So let me see, I'll go to my client files, scrolly up, and I'll show you exactly how I'm dragging and dropping this. So that's my PNG. Let's say we want to do, oh, you know what? I forgot to save graduate as a PNG, but that's good because that'll be something that that you can get into. All right, so I just dragged and dropped it in here. And of course it threw off my placement. So I'm going to right click and create a clipping mask so that it clips in there. Control T allows me to transform it. And for these masks, you don't want to go higher than this area here. You can go a little bit higher because it'll just be your hair. But basically it folds down right there. So I can turn off my other layer. If you want color, you can put color around it. You can change the background there. You can add a pattern. This one is a color that has a mask around it. So you can get real creative. But yeah, all I did was drag this image straight onto this mask template. And I try not to mess up this mask template by making it super complicated and having a whole bunch of layers. But you can, let's say, let me give you another little tip. Let's just say we want to do black, gold wallpaper. And then I'll do, ooh, I kind of like this marbly look. I open the image in a new tab, and then I make sure it's actually a large size. Let's go ahead and save image. I will drag it directly into my Photoshop file. I probably rotate it. And I'm holding down shift so that it kind of locks in that 90-degree position. And I will right click, create a clipping mask so it clips right on there, and voila. So yes, this is my ultimate tip to you. Save each version as a PNG. You do not want to be printing straight from Photoshop with these large template files, okay? The file is a lot smaller when you go to print it as a flattened image versus trying to print from Photoshop with all the layers. So that also means that I don't have to, now I can come in and I can select all of these at once. I'm holding down shift. I'm going to select all of these and I can drop them right there like it's hot. One. I have to hit enter each time though. Okay. And then I can select them all. Control T. I'm going to transform them. I guess I was missing one. Hold on. There we go. Control T. Let's transform them to be all the same size. And then we have to right click, create a clipping mask so it all clips on the mask there. And I'm going to go to view, show my guides so I can see my center, and I can make sure that my image is all centered, or all of my images are centered. I can select all of them by doing shift, select them all, skewering it down the middle. And that's just going to align it down the center. And then if I hit Control T, I can see my center point is right there, that little square. And then I can make sure that I nudge it over until my center point is on point. Then I'll just, if I'm getting ready to print, I will turn off the layers that I don't need, and I can go ahead and print these off one by one. Okay. All right, so this is going to be up to you. Even if you just know you're going to keep the mask, whatever color it is, I can just open. I can open this PNG. Another way to open the PNG is to drag it onto Photoshop and it'll open it as its own PNG. And then when I go to print, I can go File, Print, and I can make it whatever size I want. I can also Control T, change the size of it here. So then I can fit multiple images to a page, and then maybe I cut them out and press them on the mask. Depending on what technique you're using, if you're doing a full bleed or anything like that. So once you turn them into PNGs, no, you cannot edit them any longer, but at least you have files that are manageable that you can, and printable, okay? Does that make sense, Tracy? All right, so I have that example there just in case. And I'm going to save that. And this is the one that basically same thing here. If you have the mock-up, then you can go to your art layer, any of your art layers, double click. And as a matter of fact, that file that I just did, the face cover with the bleed, watch this. If I wanted to take this and print this exactly as it is, or even put this on my mock-up, then I can go File, Save As. I can save this as a PNG. And I'll put this in your client folder just as an example. Now I can drag that mask file onto this file. As long as my art pretty much fits within these parameters, I should be good to go. If I close out of this and I say yes, it's going to update the art on my image here. So that's what a smart object does. So that this file, and I only made it $5, it's a mock-up and it is also a template. So I can print straight from this art. And if I remove the word sample text and then I close it out again and I say yes, I want to save it, it will update right there on the mask. Okay, so that's just a way to show you how to use that mock-up as well. And I'm sure some of you have other style masks. I don't sell the other style masks just because it's just a little too hard to keep up with the overseas kind of shipping and all that stuff. So I'm sure they have mock-ups for those different ones, but same concept here. You lay it out and put it together on your mock-up and watch the magic happen. Okay, so Tracy, you'll have this link too. So when you get a little quiet time tonight, you may want to go back and put this video on maybe like 0.75 speed if you need to slow it down, and just rewatch it for you. All right, love. So let me see what else I'm supposed to do today. Close out of that. And y'all get to see a little bit of my little sneak peek. That's my ink that we're rebranding it. So it's going to be called True Colors. Well, it is called True Colors because it's already in. I'm just getting my marketing and everything together. And we'll have affiliate codes and stuff so that some of you who have groups and want to earn from promoting the templates and the ink and things like that, you'll have affiliate code links. So yeah, like I said, I'm working on some stuff for y'all and for me. We're going to get it together. Okay. All right, so let's close out of all of this and see what else I have to do. I know I'm supposed to do a tie-dye all over shirt design. Let's find that one. I think I have 2 tie-dye ones right now. And let me see if our customer is going to be able to join us on the live. If not, then this is one of my tried and true customers. So usually anytime I do something, I hit it right on the head, hit the nail right on the head, and it's good to go. Let's see. But just in case, I like to give the clients the opportunity to join us live and see the design. The real reason is I don't really like to touch a file or a design more than once. Like once I shut it down, I want that to be it. I didn't mean to type in all caps. My bad. So this is a large file. This is one of the all overs and tie-dye. So it's going to take a little second to open that. In the meantime, in between time, let me go ahead and grab my art. So I believe this one is photo. And we'll see. Now this one, sometimes you have to decipher whether you're going to do an all, oh, this is a small image. Okay. So this is going to be one of those instances where we have to work with whatever we can work with. I don't even think I'm going to be able to remove the background on this, but we'll see. This is such a small image, and it's a screenshot of a small image. And just what I thought, it is not going to be fun to work with. So let me do a couple different things here. I'm going to tell them I need a better photo. But in the meanwhile, if I have to rock with it while I'm waiting, then I just have to go with it. And sometimes that'll be what you have to do for your clients. And you can tell them, hey, I can get you a much better result if I had a better photo, which you truly can, because this one is like a screenshot of a thumbnail. Okay. I'm gonna show you what I would do if I had to use this, okay? So I'm not even gonna try to cut around this thing. Well, he has this little red glow from the bite too. So I'm going to do my best to do like rough cut where we can kind of make it fuzzy around it. And I did not mean, and I rarely use this polygon lasso tool. But in this case, I'm just going to make it do what it does. Okay, so I have these little sharp edges here. I know I don't want that. So I'm going to go to select and mask, and I'm going to feather this as much as I can. I don't want to go off the edge of the paper because then it will give me issues with being cut off bluntly, and you all know how I feel about that. And I'm trying to choose how much of my image will actually stay here. Say okay, and then I'm going to just make a mask here. And then I can always go back with my paintbrush. And this image is so tiny. All right, let's reduce the size of the paintbrush. And then black is going to conceal, white will reveal. So I might want to just do a little extra concealing around here. And this is a tie-dye shirt. So we should have an opportunity for really camouflaging a lot of this out. And let's say I took off a little too much over here where the handlebars are. I can come back with white instead of black because white's going to reveal. The black conceals. I'll make my brush a little bit smaller so it can be a little more concentrated when I bring the handlebars back. Alright, so I have the red bike. I have the lights going on in there. Bring back a little bit of that tire. Then we'll see if we can make some magic happen with this low resolution photo. And then what happens is you do all this work to make a low resolution photo, right? And then they finally found the high resolution photo, and then you have to rework it. So I'm going to be good on this right here, and we'll see how we can work with it. So I'm literally just going to drop it like it's hot right onto my template, and of course it's below the photo. So I'm going to look how small that is. That's how small that is in relation to our file here. So we're going to work with it. Control T is going to allow us to transform. I'm going to make this image as big as I can without, you know, kind of looking really pixelated. And I think the tie-dye is going to give it a busy look anyway. So I think we'll be okay with that. So I just have this, my photos. So I'm going to turn off my photos for my grad. That way I have this photo, put it in front of the other photo layers, and then I have my text. So I'm going to keep my grad text boards, and I'm going to save as because I don't want to mess up this template, the same template that I sent to you all. So we'll put it client, and that one will be for G. Okay. So we can take, I think the only thing that we're going to say on here, we're going to say ride in peace. And then name is Jason. So let's take where it says Juice World, that says graffiti name. And I'd like to right click on my graphic to see what I'm clicking on. And that's going to be inside of the text here. So graffiti name is highlighted because I selected it from the artboard. And I'm just going to double click to change the text here. And for this one, the name is Jason. And what I have done is, because I wanted some of the text to be larger than the rest, there are little breakups. So I'll keep that J, because the capital letters in this font look a little too, like it's just doing too much. So we'll take that off. Actually, we'll do the end of his name. Jason ends with an N, so we'll do a lowercase n, and then A-S-O. And it's really weird spelling pieces of somebody's name or pieces of a word. J-A-S-O-N. And I'm going to bring it as close as I can together. You know, graffiti is a little, subjective. It's not a science. So you play with your sizing, play with your placement. You might even rotate your letters a little bit. That's what this is all about. Then I'm going to grab this whole group here, Control T, and I'm going to center this. I'm going to pull it until I see my magenta center line pop up. And then if I close out of this, it's a smart object. Oh, well, I have to commit my text by pressing enter. You say yes. I'm going to show you how fast these all over designs can really be. Now, the thing about this, now that the text is smaller, some of the other graphic elements are a little bit out of place. So let's just do, I'm going to change just the text layers. And I'm missing something here. There's another one somewhere else. I'm trying to hold down Control and select. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to make Jason bigger. Control T allows me to transform it. Then that way all my bubbles and my arrows make sense. There we go. And I believe the colors are going to be the colorway for, oh, you know what? That was silly. Because I should have changed that text. Because we're going with the colorway. If I go to my background, I'm going to go with the colorway that had the blue, not that one, that one. And then the words that we're going to say is ride in peace. Oh, it's a smart object, duh. So we'll change that layer anyway. I just have to change my placement and my scale. So instead of long live, I am going to put ride in peace. And I'm going to copy and paste it so that I do not misspell anything. And what I may do is just capitalize that P. Yeah, I like that. Then I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And we'll do just like we did before. Take all of the areas where we have the word Jason. Control T, and I'm going to transform this. And I don't know if we want to put any dates on this. It doesn't have any dates, so I can turn the dates off. And now it's done. And that's really the most I can do with that photo. But you see how even a bad design can look good if you have the right design elements going on. Oh, yeah. See, you reminded me, Kim. Thanks, love. Let me go ahead and turn it on. So this is my little mouse track software. So now it'll show you what I'm clicking on. And I'm sorry I didn't think of that earlier. So yeah, it should show you when I'm clicking and also what I'm typing when I type something. All right, so in order to prove this to the client, I'm going to turn off this. If I hit Control-0, then it zooms to my outermost limits, and I can go ahead and prove this right now. I can do File, and I can export it as I export as a JPEG. So I go to Save for Web, and I won't make it any bigger than maybe 500 pixels. That way, like I said, people will take your art. Like I've seen people take a remembrance design that I did, and I will put it on Facebook at like a high resolution, and somebody will grab that thing. And it takes a lot of guts to take a design like that. You're already helping the family, with their process of grieving, and putting a lot of love and time into this thing, and then somebody will straight go snatch it off and print some 8x10 iron-on sheets. And you can't even be mad. I mean, because you can't do anything about it. You're going to sue. All right, so I'm going to put this in my client files. Creatives. Up one client files, G Money. And I'll go ahead and prove that to them. But that was easy. As far as the all over design goes, I didn't have to change the colors. Changing the colors is a little more difficult, but I have a whole video showing you how to change the colors and stuff. But I just want you to see that these are tools, not to be intimidated by them. At the very, very most, you're learning how to use the styles that are already set forth for you to change out some text, change out some photos, and have a really, really dynamic design. I told you. It says that's all they had. Just got off the phone. About to send a better one. Yeah, about to send a better photo. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and proof this one, because I have a feeling that because it says ride in peace, they're going to like not the motorcycle, but the bicycle. Then we'll see where it goes from there. So I'll see if they want to go with that one. And then eventually it'll turn into, oh, can you put both of them on there? So save image as. I'll go ahead. I'm going to do it just for the sake of, I know anytime I'm doing remembrance designs or projects, I'm always super sensitive to the needs of the people that I'm working with, so much so that I can get a little wrapped up sometimes and do a little extra. And by little, I mean a lot. But this is one of those chances where you get a chance to kind of step in and be somewhat of a hero. So yeah, we're going to do this photo. I'll add it in there. And of course, we're going to end up taking this other person out of the photo, but at least it cleaned up its edges good. I don't have to clean that up and spend time with my pen tool. It's not a high resolution photo either, 720 by 720. But when I pull it in, we'll see how much better it could possibly work in the design. And this is, I was giving it this glow because I dropped it into the graffiti name layer, which actually has a glow around it. But I like the glow. It gave me a good idea there. Y'all let me know if y'all like that. Okay, so this is a PNG. It's a smart object, which means I can double click it. It opens up as its own. And I'm going to grab the pen tool only because there are going to be some areas that I need to separate. So I'm just going to tap around these areas because I can have corners there. It's nothing there. But when I get to areas that I want to smooth or curve, I'm going to click and drag. Now I can't really tell the edge of his vest from her dress, but I'm just guessing. And sometimes all you need is an educated guess. Zoom out. Close that path up. I'm going to turn this into a selection, and I will let it feather 1 pixel. And then this way, if I hit delete, I normally don't do that. I normally do not delete pixels, but this is already an image where the background's been removed. So I'll hit Control D, make sure my cuts make sense. And as a matter of fact, it kind of doesn't because it's a little fuzzier. If you can see that, it's a little too much of a fade off. So I'm going to do Control Z and go back one more time. So I am going to turn this back into a selection. But now where it says feather the radius 1 pixel, I'm going to feather it 0 pixels because even 1 pixel just made it a little too fuzzy there. So I just delete it, Control D to deselect, and because it's a low resolution image, it's automatically going to have some kind of fade off there. So if I close out of this and say yes, it should update it in my image, and voila. So they didn't ask for this, but you know, you just figure out what the people want. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to make this sign. Let me put my guides back on too. I don't want to get too much going on there. So I'll take this image, and although I think it's a nice concept, I like the bike, I really do. And I like the idea because it really flows well with the theme, the Ride in Peace theme. But I'm just a little concerned that it won't print well as an all-over shirt. And sometimes we're harder on ourselves than the customer will ever be on us. So we have to keep that in mind too. It could just be me, and they're perfectly fine with the way it was. And then I'll make sure that I pull this photo below the text because I want to make sure that we're not covering up the words there. And maybe that works better. So you have the formal photo, you have the passion photo, which is his passion is obviously riding. You get a little more of that tire in there and not the Sprite can. Well, let me show y'all a trick to take out the Sprite can. I'm going to turn off the layer mask real quick. Right click, disable the layer mask. And I'm going to go where the Sprite can is, and I'm going to go to my healing brush tool. Right click, increase my brush here, and turn my hardness down. Okay, so I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm going to pick a source to where I want to pick some color and some imagery from. So here. And it's doing a lot of processing time because this is a really huge file. But I also, normally I'll create a new layer, and then that way when I start painting over it, do the spot healing. And I'm going to sample all layers. All right, you see what it's doing? Kind of using the pixels that surround the object to replace the current pixels. Is that not some magic there? Okay, now this one picked up some of his foot there. So I'm going to make sure that I kind of come here a little bit. It is not perfect, but it is, like I said, a good guess. And then down here, let me see if I select down here if it'll cover up with the line. Video. All right, so no more Sprite can. Don't know if that was necessary. They probably would have been okay with the Sprite can. I'm just letting you know if you're not okay with the Sprite can, what you can do. All right, so. And if I really wanted to take some time, oh, dagnabbits, I forgot that I have this layer separate from this one. So what I need to do is go ahead and merge that down. Let's preserve that mask, and there we go. So that layer that I did, and that's why I did it separate too, because I didn't want to mess up my original image. But it looks good. And I can put that tire to where I can still see it. Still get the theme and the idea. And I'll go ahead and proof this one too. Why not? Let's go ahead and turn off our marks. And customers sometimes don't understand when you show them this big old thing with all the bleed on it. They're gonna ask you, oh, well, make things bigger, but when it comes down to it, all of this section out here is bleed. Most of your shirts are going to be small, medium, large, and extra large. Really medium, large, and extra large. And you'll probably have a few 2X, 3X. So when you design on this type of template, you can print this one page. And when you send it to me, like some of you have really been taking advantage of the all over prints. So when you submit it to me, you only have to submit this one file. I will print it just like this, send it to you, and then that way if you have to print a small, medium, large, extra large, up to a 3X, they will all fit on this one template. You don't have to redesign it for each size. Okay, so I've been getting that question a lot too. And he said the other one was cool, but I'm gonna go ahead and give him this one too. Why not? So we'll export, save for web, and just taking a little while to basically take this huge file and tell it that it's going to be a small preview. And same thing, I'll just put the number 2 at the end so we'll know it was the second. We'll proof that one as well. Can't remember what I did, but I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that. I think I was going to edit it as a PNG. Nope. I'm gonna keep things as is. We'll go ahead and save what we're working on, Control S. I'll send them the second proof. More than likely they'll like that. And that's it. We didn't have to do any extra graphics or anything to that degree. Let's see. Do y'all have any questions? So I have one more to do. One more proof. All right, so Tracy, you want to know about printing your files as an 8.5 by 14? Let me show you what to do for that. I'm going to go ahead and open your PNG. It is automatically 13 by 19. That's why I tell you to go ahead and save them as PNGs. You can do one of two things. You can go to your image size, and you can tell it to be 8.5, and then it tells you that it's 12.75. So you know that the 8.5 by 12.75 will fit on an 8.5 by 14. You can say OK. And then that way when you go to print, you can, of course that's a 13 by 19 sheet, but if you, let's say you were printing 8.5 by 11, or 8.5 by 14, I'm sorry. So that's your legal size there. This is how it would fit on the legal size paper. Velo, no, I don't waterproof I should, because what happens is people share them. They will take those little low resolution files, and the families are really proud and they want to share them. So I should watermark all of my stuff, but that's one of the last things that I do is actually take credit for my own work. I'm sure it's gonna bite me in my butt though. It already has. But yeah, I definitely should, because what'll happen is when they share it on their Facebook or their Instagram, it has your watermark on it. It's a potential new client. I'm not worried about them when I send them a proof. I'm really not worried about them stealing the art, because it's so, so small of a file. If they reprint it, you'll be able to tell. And I'm not that concerned about it. But it is definitely a opportunity for you. But of course, like on these proofing sessions, I'm not going to brand it in InnatLab, because I want you all to brand it. And that's why I've been taking more of my, because I used to put InnatLab on stuff. Then I've been taking it off because some of you have been saying, hey, can I use your mock-ups and your templates to advertise to my customers? And that's where I got the idea. I was like, well, if I stop branding it for me, then I can make it something that you can share with your clients. And you won't feel like, oh, well, once they see her designs, they're going to go with, they want to get their shirts printed with you. I don't want y'all to feel like that. I want you to welcome people to the site, for them to have a place where they can pick out designs, but then they're still going home to you. Okay. The resolution that I send is 150 dpi, 13 by 19 dimensions. So that's what the file is, and then you can resize it whatever. I've had people print these on little 9 by 9 fans. I've had people take these same designs, put them on notebooks and pillows and all of that stuff. So you just resize it to whatever you're going to print it on. And if anyone is in a position like Tracy, she's one of our innate creatives. She's asking these questions. What I'm doing is basically editing the template for her. She's already purchased the template. But I will do, if you go on the website and you click on Design Services, and I guess I could be showing you better than I can tell you. And I'm finally starting to get my images up, y'all. So don't look as spammy. You're like, who are all those people with watches and laying on couches? It was a template for the website. I'm working on it, guys. So yeah, if you go to Design Print Service, so this is where you want to send your customers 10-minute templates. Okay. For right now, if you just need to show them the templates. So you don't have to buy all the templates up front. I'm telling you that to probably shoot myself in the foot. But you can show them that, and then that way when they pick out or they screenshot which one that they want, we can do the session. I can do it like we can co-design it, where you'll tell your customer, hey, Shannon's going to be live at this time designing it. That's our designer. And just call me your designer. That's all you have to do is call me your designer. That's my graphic designer. And you can make it seem like I'm your graphic designer. That sounds even more exclusive. That's my graphic designer, and she's going to design it live. Go ahead and pre-pick which template you want. Send me the photo, and then this is the template that they pick, but you screenshot whatever template they want. And when you go to Design Print Services, you'll go to, so there's a few things on here right now. This is where you go if you want me to do a custom design for you, even if you have a template in mind. Click on Custom Design. The one-on-one private, a lot of people have been asking me about that. That is the one where you pay basically per hour for me to help you learn. And we'll have an alternative to that soon, which will be group classes, where we'll have a small group and we'll actually have a task that we will work through, a template that we will work through, or a task that we will work through as a group, and you'll all do it live with me. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in something like that, so I get an idea of how soon I need to make that happen. Let's see here. So this is also where you would go if you want me to print the 36 by 44. So basically you would take this image just like this, file, save it as a JPEG. Don't save it as a PNG, save it as a JPEG. Okay. And when you save that as a JPEG, you'll upload it online, and you want to make sure that you save it as maximum file resolution, so it'll keep the same size and dots per inch. So that one, all you do is upload your file. Bam. And this is a large file, so it may take a little minute to upload. You tell me how many prints you want. Let's say you need 5 prints, and you decide I'm going to do a small, a large, extra large, so forth. Add it to the cart, and you'll be able to check out with those prints. And we'll roll those prints up and send them to you. All right, the other thing is if you need my custom design services. So you can do this, or your client can do this. If you don't want to deal with paying for the art and you want your client to understand what artwork costs, you can have your client do this. So that way you're not having to front your own money. You would go ahead and have them upload a photo. The first photo is free. So let's say I was doing this project all over again, right? Let me show you what we would do. If I was doing 2 photos, I would select my first one, and then what happens when I select photo number 2? That's the extra $5. So it also limits how many photos people ask you to really use. So that adds another $5. And then the template choice, you have to put a template choice. If you don't, then you won't be able to check out. So for the template choice, you would go and let's say they searched the site, you told them to go 10-minute templates, and they said, you know what, I really liked that tie-dye design. And eventually I'll have like where they can just select the image, but it's so many templates right now that I can't do it that way. So I'm working on that. But let's just say I'm going to copy that or save that image as, or if they're on their phone, they can do a little screenshot or a little snippet. I'll do a snippet from my computer. Now my little snipping tool want to show out. Or maybe it was opening up. Well, I saved the image. So let's go back to our custom design. And then it says template choice. I'm going to choose, what did I say? Oh, I saved it right here. That one. That's my template choice. You can do a screenshot. You don't even, it doesn't have to be high resolution because all that's going to tell me is which template that they really want to use, they really like. I don't like when people just tell me to design from scratch. If there's a selection of things that they can design from, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if they go to PNG, they don't have to pay anything more. It's going to be $20 if it was only one photo. It's $25 because there were 2 photos. They would select design. For an all over, it's supposed to be $10 more. The reason why is because a lot of times when I'm doing all overs, I have to do things that kind of make the image look better. If it's a 13 by 19, it's $25. So you can see how this is going to get expensive for a customer to understand this is my art fee. And here's the thing, this Remembrance shirt works great if you're paying $35 to get the design done for you and is ready basically for you to print and press. That's not a bad price at all for this level of design. And I want you to use this to charge the same price. You charge them $35. You bought the template. And charge that price because that's what the art is worth. That's what I'm charging. And I can work through these files a lot quicker than probably a lot of our beginners. So it may eat up a lot more of your time. Charge for it. I did not used to charge for artwork, and it used to eat me up every single day. I would be backed up. Even now, I'm not charging enough for my time, but I want to be able to help a lot of you. So I'm kind of putting it into motion so that you all can help yourselves in the future. So anyways, that's what you would do. Add that to cart. And that's why I said I wanted to have a separate website for your customers, because I don't want them to see that they can buy, you know, blanks. Like if they're buying something from you and they see, oh, well, the blanks, I can get a blank mask for $1.50. I can get a blank stove for $6 and they're charging me $50 for them. I don't want them to see that. So I'm working on them to have an alternate kind of gateway. So when they go to it, it'll still show the templates, but not all the other stuff. And it also won't show them that I can print shirts for them. It'll only show the designs, and then you'll be the hub for the printing. Okay. So that was a little lesson on the website. And I want y'all to be honest with me. If I did a group class, and more than likely it will be a 2-hour class, maybe even a little bit, it probably will be longer. I'm not going to lie. It'll probably be like 2.5 hours. What would you pay to do that course? Because I'm trying to figure out what I can do to kind of, because a lot of y'all are here with me all the time watching these videos and you're still a little timid about touching Photoshop. And I want to get you past that. I want to get you to where I can see you doing it, you can hear my voice, and you can get through it. So a way that we can do that, small group session, basically we'll do it to where you can screen share with me. So when I say, you know, Tracy, let me see what you got so far, where you at? And then I can switch it to your screen and you can show me, oh, well, I got this far, but I'm stuck on this. So I want to pretty much be able to reserve some time and some energy into doing those type of sessions. So y'all give me an idea of what you think that kind of session would be worth, and also what time would be best to do those type of sessions. And you can put it in the private group, the Innate Creatives. I'll create a post and then I'll let y'all comment on that post. So then that way we can kind of keep it amongst ourselves. All right, so you have any questions for me so far? I think I have one more design that I have to get done right now. Oh, the snippet tool was there the whole time. I was just clicking away. All right, let's see. All right, so 10-4. All right, so one design down. Let's see, we have one more to do. This one's going to be a 13 by 19. And I have a few photos here. Let me see which template was picked. All right, Forever in Our Hearts. That's the one that was picked. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one. And this should be pulling up in just a moment, I think. I might be clicking too many times. And meanwhile, anytime Photoshop is taking its time doing its thing, that's your opportunity to go ahead and pull your images together. Go ahead and figure out if you're going to remove backgrounds or anything like that. So let's go ahead and pull up Remove BG and make some magic happen. And I think we have one. Got a name here too. 1, 2, 3, 4 images. Let's see how they turn out. Because I think one might give us some issues, but we'll see. There's one. Yep, it's not going to identify the foreground on that, which is just fine because this is one of my ones where I would just do a generic kind of fade out. This one may actually work as a fade out. Yeah, it's not cleaning up the front here, but this is good because this is like a hybrid where it did get some of the image, but I'm going to have to clean up that front if I want that clipped out. And let's go with this image. Let's see how that goes. And this is a good demonstration of the limitations of Remove BG. Remove BG, of course, isn't going to get this data around his head there, but I might be able to do something with that. This one's good. That one's perfect. So this one's definitely going to be our focal image. All right, so let's go back to our Photoshop. And I think we're going to keep that original gate on. Let's see the photo with the wings. Let's go to our photo and turn off the original photo. We'll go into, well, we have to save these, of course. Let's go ahead and download each of these images. I'm probably not going to waste a credit on the one. This one still came out okay. I would just end up cleaning that up if I need to. But sometimes just the way that you lay something out could keep you from having to do a lot of photoshopping and photo editing. This one I'm going to keep as a whole image. I'm just going to fade it off. Same thing here. So I can actually close out of this now. Go back to my folder. And the image I said I was going to drag in full, I have one. And as you can see, it is a screenshot there. So I have that black at the top and bottom. And then this one is another one that's not going to pull in as a PNG. But the other two, I think we can work with those. So I'll pull those in as PNGs. 1, and 2. And then I know that this is going to be my main image just because of the resolution and it's a more recent image. And then these other images I'm going to place behind the back wings. And I'm going to play with my placement a little bit. So I have the young boy version. And then I'm also going to take these wings, Control T, the front and back wings are linked. So when I scale them down, they scale down together. Because now, instead of a single image, this is now a collage. So when that's the case, I'm going to kind of scale accordingly. And we don't have any space down here where the shirt continues, so I can do something with that, or I can kind of use my photos to play with that. And right now, I'm going to bring the photos that need a little work forward so I can clean up the top and bottom and kind of fade these off. So let's add a layer mask. Let's grab our brush here. I'm going to Control Alt, right click, make my brush bigger. And I should be painting with black instead of white, so I need to bring black to the foreground. Let me turn off this other layer so I can really see what I'm doing right now. And this is a really big brush, so I'm getting a little loose with it right now. But I'm doing that so I can get a nice fade off, and then I'll come back and add the parts of my photo that I want. So I'm going to grab the white now, bring my brush a little bit smaller, and then I'll add back. Just make sure I don't fade off anyone's face there. And I'm getting a little into this edge again, so I'm going to go back to the black. And black conceals, white reveals. I'm just going to keep touching on that edge until that edge disappears. Y'all know I don't like the hard edges. So that's good for me. I'm fine with that. Control T. Oh, no, I'm not, because I have a whole other face over here I'm missing. But you see how I'm using this image now to kind of cover up where he doesn't have the rest of his shirt there, but you still get the idea of the wings. And that's why I'm saying you just have to be a little creative. Oh, I got a little baby down there I'm missing. So I'll make sure that we don't hide anyone that we want to see. I'll bring Forever down just a little bit. Oh, I have a Forever copy here. Why? I don't know. Okay. And like I said, with this mask here, let's go back to the image. Let's go to the layer mask, and I'm going to choose white to paint where I want to reveal the image again. And Control Alt, I'm going to drag to the left to make that brush a little smaller. And this is where I'm going to have to get creative with what I'm going to take away and what I'm going to keep. So now I'm back on the black. You see I'm just barely touching the top of that edge there, so I can get rid of that. Same thing with this bottom edge. Now this is particularly an issue when you're dealing with like the side of a photo that's just abruptly cut off. For instance, like here. So I think we have one more photo here. Let's see what we're going to do with that one. As a matter of fact, I can go in, double click that because it's a smart object, and I can just straight up crop. Let's say I didn't have this. Let's clear that. And let's go to our cropping tool. and we can crop that as needed. And that way when I save this, it will update on my main file. And I'm going to add a layer mask, grab that paintbrush, and I'm going to make it bigger. I can right click and make it bigger. I like this new shortcut. It is not new, it's very old. It's just my first time being introduced to it. It was pretty much, what, a few weeks ago. And I'm just kind of fading off these edges so I don't have any hard lines. But I'm kind of leaving the background there because it seems like he's, you know, really into hats. So maybe this image has significance with the hats in the background. Looks like he's in a hat store. And I'm just kind of eating away. And I'm not meticulously cutting out this image. I'm very, very much just subjectively kind of taking away parts of the image. And then if I do Control T now, I can transform it. Make it a little bit smaller, and I'm trying to see where I want this to go. And that's the other reason why I charge more to do more photos, because you work your brain harder. You really do when you're trying to figure out how to collage things. It's not just as simple as, you know, dropping and going now. And this image, I think we'll bring this one to the front as well. And I'm trying to see if I want to either blend off his head there or possibly, let's see. I want to avoid having to Photoshop something at all costs, but sometimes you just have to. And it's not a really clean picture, so it's going to be very difficult to kind of continue that. But nonetheless, let's try it and see what we get. I'm just going to take a little section from here, Control C, Control V is copy and paste. Control T is going to transform it. And what I'm trying to do now is kind of create the roundness of the side of the head over here that is cut off by the photo. There are no guarantees in this, so sometimes you end up with something nice, sometimes you end up with something crazy looking, and you just keep playing with it till you make it work. All right, so I think I can work with this. Now what I'm looking for is for this head to kind of come down to here, and then I have an ear, and I can probably make that ear look like it's complete. So I'm going to take my pen tool, and I'm going to go ahead and start creating the illusion. I don't know if that's the background or not, so I'm doing my best to kind of create a shape here. So I'm going to get that little noggin there. And I'm clicking and dragging when I go back a step. And when you click and drag, you create curves rather than harsh lines. All right, I'm going to create a selection out of that, and I am going to feather this, let's say 2 pixels. And let's see what happens when I go to the original image, I didn't want to create a layer mask. I want to do layer mask to hide the selection that I have currently. And you see it kind of took off some of the ear, took off some of the neck. And then I want to take that same layer mask, and I'm going to Alt click and drag it down to that little extra piece of head that I've just made up. And you do see a little harsh line right here. And what I can do is go in with my paintbrush. Black's going to reveal, so I'm going to make sure black's selected. Get my paintbrush. And I need to bring this all the way down. Here we go. I'm just going to paint a little black right there and see how it's fading that little corner off. It kind of took a little bit of that ear off too. But I can always add the ear back by going to white and adding that ear right back. Uh-oh. And looks like my noggin might be a little off. Because I'm trying to create that shape there. I might have given them a little too much egghead. Let's see. So let's try to redraw the shape. And this is what I do, y'all. This is why you can't be giving me stuff like this. Because I will do my best to make it look like something that it should be. Alright, selection, feather that radius. Same thing, I'm going to go in with my black paintbrush, and if I paint inside of this mask, I don't have black selected, I have white selected. I want black to conceal. I'm going to conceal on the layer of the main photo and conceal on my extra noggin piece. Okay, select, deselect. I'm a little bit happier with that. And then I can also now kind of fade off the edge of this suit here. It's giving me hard lines. And when I do Control Alt, I can change the size of my brush by sliding left to right while I have my right mouse button clicked. And I can fade that off. And now I'm getting into my little composition here. So this is why I want you all to charge more for more photos, because now we went, literally this was a 10-minute design. If we just dropped that one photo in here and changed the words, we would have been done, right? So I want to make sure that y'all understand that. Why you're charging what you're charging, why I'm charging what I'm charging. Because I was feeling bad, but then I realized how much, well, how little time I have. So I have to kind of make it work. And I'm just kind of getting rid of some of the photo where the kids are, because I want them to show through. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, holding down Shift. Trying to select all of that together. I'm going to move that over a little bit. That way I can make image number 3 a little bit bigger. There we go. And I still see that harsh line in that photo right there. I don't know if that's bothering you, but it's bothering me. So let me go in with my paintbrush on my mask layer. I'm not painting on my actual photo. And black is going to conceal. I'm going to bring back the white now, because I'm going to bring back his elbow there that I previously turned off. A little bit of his backpack. And the brick wall is actually taken away from the fact that the shirt cuts off abruptly. So let's go to the shirt, add a layer mask. I'm going to choose black and kind of fade off the bottom of his shirt. But then I'm going to go back and build the layer with the brick wall background. So I'm going to add white to this mask and kind of build that brick back. All right. And now I think all we have to do is change out the name. Let me see if we have any specific colors. So I just did Control X to copy, or actually to cut. If I triple click, it selects the whole line. If you double click, let me show you a trick. If you double click on a word, it just selects a single word. If you triple click, 1, 2, 3, it selects the whole line of text. So let me capitalize the junior, and usually there's a period after the junior and a comma before the junior. Even though I say how people send it to you, you know, copy and paste. But I'm going to take that, copy. I don't know why I have this copy in this template. And I'm going to put an extra space between the Carl and the Allen just because this particular font is really fancy and it does a little bit of overlapping. So Control T is going to allow me to transform that, make it larger. And then Forever in Our Hearts. And I don't, yes, I do have dates. So I'm going to copy those dates. That's one thing I do not want to get wrong, are the dates. So if I plan on like typing out the month and day versus when someone sends me the hyphenated or the slash dates, I'm going to go ahead and also delete that copy. So sunrise is June, oh wow, this is very close to the date, June 19th, a few days apart. Turn my number lock on. Okay. June 19th, 1989. I'm being very careful trying to make sure that I put the right date in here right now. And what it's trying to do for me is give me these glyphs and stuff, and I don't need that. All I need you to do, sir, is let me type. Alright, so that's 89, and then sunset will be, oh, this is recent too. May 13th, 2020. So now I can double check May 13th, 2020. I can delete that now, and then sunrise June 19th, 1989. I can delete that now. And if they don't want the word, some people don't want the word sunrise, sunset, you can take those off. But that's it. Let me see what's going on right here. I see a little sliver or something. Something right here is bothering me. I don't know what it is. I can barely click on it. Well, I can't click on it, obviously. Let's see what that is. Photo with wings. Image. Ah, it's an image I thought I faded off, but I didn't. You see how that was there? So I'm going to grab my paintbrush and brush it away. As I'm telling you, right-clicking on this artboard is a saver when you're trying to figure out what in the heck is that? What am I touching? What am I trying to get to? Instead of sifting through these layers, you're just going to right-click on your image. And then, of course, this halo, we can move it. Control T will transform it, make it a little bigger since this photo is a little larger. And now we have our halo. And if we wanted to arch this text, which I think I might, just because the halo's there, I'm going to arch it just a little bit, or arc it a little bit. There's an arch. There's an arch. I want to show you the difference. Arch keeps it straight on the sides, and arc bends the entire thing. So I'm going to arc it. And make sure I'm going to clear the top of the page there, and I think that looks a little bit better. And this junior has natural spacing with this period, but this period is throwing me off. Get rid of that space. And if I really want to, I can take that space and instead of 0 spacing, I can do negative 150, and it just brings it in closer there. All right. So 13 by 19, I'm gonna go ahead and proof this one. Proofing online now. I am like misspelling the mess out of this new computer. It's a gaming computer and these keys don't like to let me type properly. So I had to figure out a setting for that. It's not responding as quickly as I need it to when I type fast. I already have spelling issues when I'm designing, so. All right. Okay, guys, y'all have any questions? I'm gonna go ahead and take all of this, every last bit of it, and I'm gonna shift it down on the paper a little bit because your 7710s and 20s, your 13 by 19 printers, they print best when they don't have anything right up here at the top. And you'll notice that if you print to the top of the page a lot, you might get these little black spots on the corners of your page and your paper might curl up and get caught. So just do your best not to try to print directly at the top of the page. All right, so that one I think is done. I'm going to go ahead. You know what I didn't do this time? I did not save as like I was supposed to and save it in my client file. Okay, so I'll save that, and this time instead of doing saving a proof, I'm just going to do a snippet real quick because I can copy and paste it right in my Google Hangouts, which is what I use for my business number. So that is separate from my real number. I can turn it off when I need to not be worried about business. And then I can answer messages and stuff from the computer because 9 times out of 10, I do not have my phone around me or I do not look at my phone when I'm focusing on anything, which is almost all the time. All right. All right, so I think we're done with this. Let me see. I'll wait just a second, see if we need to change anything. All right, y'all have any questions or anything? What we've been doing so far? We've been on here a good little, almost 2 hours now. Oh, wow, Tracy, I'm so sorry. It's been a lot of loss lately, and I really, like, I feel for everyone. It really makes me even more of a sensitive person to what everybody's going through. And this type of thing, that if I can help out with this is kind of my way of helping people through a tough time. And this is what's going to happen for you all too when people come to you with these type of designs. You're going to be able to soothe just a little bit of a sore spot to where it makes them feel good, something that they can have a lifetime. And especially for remembrance shirts, I love to remind people about that this is a product that will last over a lifetime. This is something you can pass down generation to generation. And I would love for you to, even use that verbiage. They asked me, well, will this? I said it never cracks, peels, or fades. It lasts a lifetime. As a matter of fact, it'll last longer than a lifetime. So, use that when you're trying to convince people to do these white shirts. I know it's not easy. That's why this all over shirts is really kicking up, because people just really can't stand white t-shirts. But we can do beautiful artwork on them. I can't tell you the number of people I've converted over to sublimation customers who thought they wanted black t-shirts with those iron-on transfers, and I refused to do them. But when they can see the type of quality of work and love and attention that you can put into this type of design, and that they'll have it for a lifetime, you can easily convert them. So I want you to think about this type of stuff. Slates are big too. Like, you can put this on a slate, and that's something that you give to mom or give to the kids. They have these little sweatshirts that you can put on teddy bears. Take the same design and put it on the teddy bears t-shirt, or teddy bears. They have little teddy bear hoodies, and give them a teddy bear. And it's just that one thing that you give them extra that they will never forget you for, and they will forever be grateful for that. And then they'll brag on you forever every time they look at it because it's something that they can keep and hold. The pillows are really popular too. Some people do the blankets. The blankets are a little bit of a cumbersome task if you're doing those big old blankets, but the pillow is a perfect thing to do. For the tutus, I use rabbit skins. Rabbit Skins has well, not Rabbit Skins, it's the same company. LAT Apparel makes a brand called Sublavie, I believe, and I use the Sublavie toddler shirts. But Condi also has the Vapor. They have Vapor toddler shirts, which are really thick. The Sublavie toddler shirts are very thin. If you ever dealt with the adult Sublavie shirts, they're very thin as well. They sublimate beautifully, especially if you're doing all over designs, but they're very thin. And then I noticed that Sublavie isn't carrying the infant size anymore. So I go with Condi now to get my infant sizes, the one piece or onesie type designs, and then the toddler t-shirts. For the large format, we have a couple of different printers. There is this 7270, which has my ink in it, and then we also have it's actually a couple of people that help me right now do outsourcing. So when my jobs pick up, we're able to basically do things from different areas, which is basically what you all will end up being as the network in the future. So even if it's just even if you only have a 13 by 19 printer, you're going to be the network. You're going to be the people that when somebody hits me up and says, "Hey, I'm in Chicago. Do you have any way that I can get a shirt next day or same day?" I want to be like, "Yep, my innate affiliates. This is one of my affiliate locations. They, basically support by, and you won't even have to purchase the templates. It'll be a subscription service." So that's what I'm working on, guys. Like, I'm seriously what I'm thinking on the scale of us being able to help one another is really building a community, building a brand from the inside out. So you don't have to say that you're Innate Lab yourselves. You be whatever brand you are. I don't care if you work out of your home, if you have a brick and mortar store, as long as you're able to basically do some type of drop off for your product, that'll work for the customers. And we're going to be able to pull this thing together. Like, this is going to be epic. Seriously. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it so much. I just, show you better than I can tell you. But yeah, so no matter who has the printers, I don't care who has a large format, who has a small format, we'll be able to utilize one another's resources to take care of these customers. Oh, and Kim, also, I'm going to be doing a review of the Epson 15,000. I'm going to show y'all how to set that up. And I have the ink now, the ink in the bottles that work with that the EcoTank system. So that's definitely going to be a big deal. So that one, and then there's one that is the 16650. That one is about, well, I don't want to call it $1,200. It's closer to $1,300, but that one prints almost twice as fast. And I'm going to show you how that one sets up and compares. And then of course I have the 7710 to show y'all too. So I'm going to take all three printers, pretty much show you how to set them up right out of the box, and then I will also do print comparisons side by side using the same ink, the same images, show you how fast they print, because a lot of you, what you're trying to figure out is where do I come into the game and how do I step up to the next level. And I clearly see that that's a recurrent theme that y'all want to learn. So and I'm learning as well. So as far as like, some people want to jump right to the large format, some people just want, hey, I just want a way where I'm not consistently changing out these ink cartridges and my prints stop in the middle and spit out a paper and waste my paper and that sort of thing. So if that's where you are, then maybe the large format isn't the next best option for you, because those are $4,000 and up. And we're talking about setups that are not for sublimation. You're converting an Epson printer at around $4,000 to get the actual sublimation setup for large format, the 44-inch printers are upwards of about $7,000. So they're different price points. I'm going to start breaking them down, comparing these methods and saying, hey, if you can't sell, basically if you can't pay for your printer in a year, then it may not be worth the investment right now. So that $1,200 printer, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can show y'all while I have you on here, because y'all might be able to help me right now figure out what you want to see, because that's my video I'm working on tomorrow. I'm excited. I hope it gets here on time because I've been having issues. I'm sure all of us have been having issues with the shipping and stuff. So I want to show you my printers that if they come in, well, I already have 2 of them. I want to do, it's my Eco Tank. Okay. So what I've started doing is I am a data person. I have a background in a lot of things other than Photoshop. I have a background in textiles. My first master's degree, my bachelor's degree is in textiles. And then my PhD and my second master's degree is in industrial engineering. Why I still want to make t-shirts? It's not really about making t-shirts. It's about being creative and basically using your talents, your God-given gifts to create something from nothing. And, you know, creating money is a big feat. If you can create money from nothing, and I don't mean literally nothing, but from something that didn't exist before, then that's a very powerful process. And if you can keep working on that process, I'm a firm believer that if you're willing to make the sacrifice, then it will eventually no longer be a hobby and it can be your career. So anyhow, breaking down data. So I was taking a lot of the Eco Tank printers, the workforce printers, with the different type of ink cartridges that I know that we're able to get refillable cartridges for. So I have the refillable cartridges as well as the bottles for the Eco Tank systems. Most of us have the 7710, 7720 type of deals that will be in this range. And then I also have what size printer. So most of us are trying to get the 13 by 19 printers. We don't really want to, dabble in the 8.5 wide printers anymore because we're trying to utilize the most that we can out of this sublimation setup. So let me just give you an example here. The ones that I have in green are the ones I'm going to compare. I have 7710s. I have several. As a matter of fact, usually I have about 4 of them functioning at a time because I'll take, a couple of them with me when I go on the road. Those are my roadies, and they travel decent. I don't like the big old scanner on them, but they work for what they need to work for, which is me making money on demand. So what I wanted to do was say, hey, when I go and do this stuff on demand, I'm getting caught up because I'm the artist. I'm the person printing, so I am the tech support, and then I'm also the person manufacturing because sometimes I'm pressing the shirts too, or the license plates and the socks. So I try to keep it simple, maybe 3 products: shirts, license plate, socks. So I'm looking forward to trying out this Eco Tank 16650, and let me show you why. Right here where you look at the print speed. Now this is not printing photos, more or less you're printing documents at this print speed, but the fact that this one has a print speed of 25 and my current setup has this print speed of about 10 pages, and it's supposed to be per minute. You know that thing, if you have the 7710, it don't print 10 pages per minute. But it's basically going by if you're using colored text, or it has a special file that it tries to print so that these print speeds are all relative to one another. But even at that, if it normally takes me about 3 minutes to print a 13 by 19 image on my 7710, 3.5 minutes if I'm using a little more color and not a lot of white space. So if I can go from that to cutting that in half to doing a minute, because basically 25 to 10 is cutting that down to about a minute per print, then this $1,200 printer might be worth the upgrade for my $200 printer. And the other thing was, if it has an eco-tank system, and then I'm going to try this out for the whole year. So we're going to do this, we're going to set it up, and we'll come back a year later and see, did I have any issues? Did anything break down or drive me crazy? What was the real cost of this system? You know, out the box is one price. Maintaining it is another price. So we'll see how, you know, how the ink held up, how the over time, how the quality of the machine holds up. So the other thing is, if I have this eco-tank system, then I don't deal with the issues of the 7710, whether the cartridges are empty or not. It thinks it's empty, and it will cut off in the middle of my prints a lot, especially when I'm printing a lot of photographic type images, which is what we're doing. So what I hope to do is to prove that, you know, for every 10 prints, I might get a half a print, because it's going to say, hey, you're out of cyan. And it's just reading what the chip tells it was in there. So I end up wasting a half a sheet of paper every single time it does that. So over the course of that year, how many half a sheets of paper do I have saved? Matter of fact, I saved my half a sheets of paper. So I know how much I'm wasting dealing with the 7710s. Okay. And then there's a mid-range one, which is the EcoTank 15,000. And I have that one. That one, I happen to get it for $500. It's $600 right now. I happen to get it when it was like $100 off. So I'm going to compare that. It has the same print speed, you know, a little bit slower. It's 9 versus a 10. But the cartridges don't have to be changed out and refilled. So I'm looking at basically comparing these three. So we're going to do a comparative analysis. We'll make it all technical and whatnot. And I want y'all to let me know if there are any printers that you possibly want to look at. That not the large format quite yet. Now the Epson, the 570, the Sure Color, that one is a 24-inch printer. The reason why I haven't bought into that one is because I would rather have a 36. If they made it in 36, that would be much better. I would rather have a 36 or 44-inch printer, because if you're going to do all overs, you still have to tile the 24-inch paper. But it's much easier to tile 24-inch paper than 13-inch paper, for sure. But I've been hearing great things about the printer and the ease of it. The size of it is not very bulky. So I may, Jesse, that's a good suggestion. I may look into that one. Now the 5570 is a big boy, I think. The 55, and I don't think it's a 50, I think it's a 5270 and a 5470. I think. Yeah, I know it's a 5470 is a 24-inch printer. Let's go to Epson. Let's go to Epson. Why y'all sitting here with me? Yeah, the 5470 is a big boy. That one should be able to be converted over. I think that one would be a good one as far as production goes, because it's meant to do higher production. And that's what a lot of times we're not. The reason why we're getting so frustrated with these 7710s and 7720s is because they're not high production. They might be quote unquote workforce printers, but they're not really meant for that. Okay. All right. Well, let's check out the 570. Oops, let me go. I thought it was on the Epson site. Epson. How did some of y'all say it? Epson? I just remember like somebody saying, I was like, have I been saying it wrong all these years? Epson with my country self. All right, so let's see. It's 570. Yeah, it's a Sure. I think it's Sure Color 570. I got too many things running through my head right. Yeah, the Sure Color F570. So that is the one that a lot of folks are getting right now. They're raving about them as far as, because especially when you've been dealing with something like a 7710, this is going to be one of your best friends. I'm just apprehensive because I don't have a lot of use for 24-inch size. So that's just one of those things where either I'm going to do 13 by 19s or I'm going to do all overs. But the 24-inch solution is really good for when you have things that are just a little bit bigger than the 13-inch paper. For instance, like you're doing pillows, right? When you're doing pillows, a lot of times you're dealing with 20-inch pillows. So if you could do a bleed off on those 20-inch pillows and not have to tile papers together, perfect. You know, that definitely helps you out. The rugs, those rugs have a space of about, I want to say like 18, they're 18 by 30 rugs, but the print space is somewhere like in the middle of them. The ones from Home Depot are somewhere like 13 by 20, 21, 22. Can't remember the exact dimensions. But yeah, if you could just print one of those out, you know, and press it twice, even if you have to press twice, you just have one sheet of paper, definitely saving you time and energy. Let's see, what other printers are y'all looking at or interested in? And see, I'll probably even make this, once I clean this file up, I'll make this available to you all because it's Google Drive. But I also have the link for each one. So this is a $600 printer. This is what I think people have been trying to get right now. And I'll show you how to set that up. It's been out of stock. A lot of these printers are out of stock right now, even the 7710s and 7720s. So, I mean, it's a tough world out there. Resources are getting low because people are home and they're trying to figure out what they can do. So this is going to be a very competitive market. Let's see, what else? This is the, so I kind of show you side by side. And when you search on Epson, what I found is really funny. When you do a search and you're trying to find printers that, I usually go for work, printers, and then just do inkjet. And then for the paper size, don't put 13 by 19 because there are some of the printers that don't show up when you put 13 by 19 because the actual paper size, it claims to be 12.95. So you won't find it when you put in 13 by 19. So I put 11 by 17. And then I can sort by the lowest price first. You see those 7210s out of stock, 7710s out of stock. 7720 is in stock right now, but you see they don't have any kind of promotional price on it because they know how these printers are going right now. This one, the 7750, the only difference with this is it's an Eco Tank and it does 13 by 19, but it has a photo black. So I haven't tested whether you can put regular black in there and it'll be cool or whether you really need a photo black difference. So that was one I considered, but because it's 5 colors, I just didn't want to play with it. Of course, that's the 1500 or 15,000 there. Now this one, the reason why I chose to go with the 16650 instead of the 16600 is because not this six. This is the 6. The 16500, that one is the older model of the Super Tank. It is actually discontinued. But if you can find one, it'd still be a great machine. I just wouldn't, you know, purchase it, you know, brand new, and because it's pretty much being phased out. If you can get it brand new at a reduced price, go for it. It's still a good printer. It just prints only 10 pages. What is that? The 6500 discontinued. It prints 6 pages per minute, so it's a slow printer. That's why I would not get it. So if I could go with this one and have the high ink capacity, just like this one has a higher ink capacity, but also have the higher print speed. The difference between this one and this one, the $1,000 one and basically the, I'm going to call it a $1,200 one by the time you finish paying them taxes. This one is basically twice as fast printing. That's it. Same paper trays, everything else is the same. Resolution, the droplet size, all of that's the same. Only difference is this one's going to print faster. Okay, so hopefully I get a chance to show you all that, and that'll also bring me into, you know, more of the technical side and the demo side. I know y'all like to see me looking crazy on camera sometimes instead of just watching my computer screen, so that'll give us a chance to bond in that way. All right, so it's getting late and I appreciate y'all for sticking with me this entire time. It's been over 2 hours. Congratulations. Your prize is you get to say goodnight to me. But seriously, guys, if y'all need anything or you think of anything that you want to see, you want to learn, I will be doing some educational series. So let me know what it is that you really think will take you to the next level of where you want to be. And I want to help you get there. And I want to get there too. So teaching is actually one of the tools that make me learn, believe it or not. If I know I have to teach something, then I go to the extreme to make sure my information is on point. I will study, study, study before I teach you the wrong thing. All right, my loves. Good night, Rona. You're welcome. Always welcome. I appreciate y'all dearly. And I look forward to catching up with y'all hopefully tomorrow when my printer comes in. I can give y'all an update of this $1,200 monster. So we'll do a good comparison for you. Good night, loves. And Tracy, I will make sure I'll go ahead and send you those links to the files. I'll send you the PNGs as well as the Photoshop file. So you'll have the editable version and the PNGs that I created for you. Okay. All right, I can't wait either. Good night, loves. I love y'all for real, and I will talk to you soon.